right, Beard, I'm going to be short and sweet talking about the introduction to this game. The Bills and the Commanders now are both 2-1. The Commanders fell to the Bills on Sunday, 37-3, which doesn't sound that bad when you look at that Miami Dolphins Denver Broncos game, so not too shabby, right? Bills went up 10-0 early in this game, and after a big play to Curtis Samuel, Washington was in the red zone trying to answer, cut it to a 1-score lead. 3rd and goal from the 2-yard line. They run some wacky play on 3rd down. They try to go for it on 4th down, and you get an incomplete pass from Sam Howell, and you could see that he could not see the field on this one. When you zoomed out and saw the all 22 on this one, there's a wide receiver on his left side wide open that he missed on this one. And you knew it was going to be a long day from there on out. Washington's big bad front did not get to Josh Allen one time in this game. I know the Beard's going to go over that on his roadmap. The Bills defense sacked Sam Howell. I had to go back and look at these numbers from different sources because I didn't think this was correct. They sacked him 9 times on the day. This was Howell's worst day as a professional in his short career. Small sample size or the large sample size, however the Beard says that one. But these were his numbers on the day right here. Sam Howell was 19 of 29 for 170 yards, 0 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He was sacked 9 times on the day. His QBR was 19. That's it, 19. Commanders' first half possessions went interception, punt, turnover on downs, interception. Reminds me of the New York Giants versus Philadelphia Eagles in a divisional game, but a little bit worse. Second half, they came out, got the halftime speech from Ron Rivera. Eric Bieniemy probably out there hyping them up. We got to go out here and get back in this game. It's just a 2-score game. Let's go do it. Second half, they went interception, punt, fumble, pick 6, punt, ended the game with a field goal. This was a terrible performance by the Washington Commanders. I feel embarrassed for all those fans that were out there in the stands in another sold-out game in the red zone. Washington was 0 for 2. Buffalo was 2 for 4. And time of possession was just a drastic difference here. Buffalo, 34 minutes and 39 seconds to Washington's 25 and 21 seconds. The Beard, I don't know if you want to go over the roadmap first. We ain't really talk about this. I'm going to follow your lead on this one. I think you had a better chance of leading the Washington Commanders than Ron Rivera and Eric Bieniemy did on this past Sunday. What did you see from this game?
I will say we ended on a high note. You know, we left with a field goal. Yeah, we ended on a high note, right? That's about the best thing I got here for the Washington Commanders. I mean, listen, let's go ahead and go over the roadmap and just get that out the way because this is a good one. This is a
right there with you.
really good one here.
Yeah, you get on the freeway. What? No, turn right. Get out of the lane. No. Okay, get the procedure. Just get out the lane.
So, imagine this. You're on a road trip, right? You're going to the slopes. You're heading to the mountains. It's wintertime, right? You're going on a little ski trip, you and the boo or you and the boys,
Yeah,
you know.
You and the boo or you and the boys.
and you're driving through the mountain and a storm comes in out of nowhere, right? And then next thing you know, you can't move. You got to start a fire to stay warm.
Oh, this is bad. Car
The
won't start, no
roadmap
heat.
was used to start the fire. Because that's the only description I can give you because it was not followed to a T at all, okay? So on the roadmap, I said, hey, Washington, you got to win the running game, all right? You got to go over 100, hold Buffalo to less than 100, okay? I will tell you this much. The only thing that, you got to the first red light on the roadmap, and that was it. It all went downhill after that. We did go for over 100 yards, 105, but we definitely did not hold Buffalo under 100 yards. They ran for 168. Give me the on that one, okay? We're not taking half points here, all right? Up next, I said win the turnover battle. Washington 0, Buffalo 2. It was not in accordance. We had 5 turnovers to Buffalo's 1, okay? So that was another, bump in the road, to say the least. Then I said, okay, sacks. We got to win the sacks. I wanted Washington to have 5 sacks. I wanted, to allow 2. Washington had the big, fat donut, as Awthentik said. And not to mention, did we not only not have any sacks, we allowed 9 sacks. Washington had 10 sacks the entire season through the first 2 games, and that was number 1 in the NFL. Buffalo is probably leading the league in sacks now because they had 9 against
Yeah, that's
Washington.
wild. 9 is wild.
And we're going to talk about those sacks in a second here. Now, then I said, I saw somebody in the chat wanted to know, hey, how many penalties does Washington have? I said that was going to be an issue. We needed to have 4 or less penalties. Nope. We had 6. 6 penalties. So, no, we lost that. Then obviously, I said, you got to win the time of possession. Keep that Buffalo off the field. Yeah, we lost that as well. So, roadmap, a big, fat failure. Now, listen. Yeah, you could talk about so many different things in this game. I will say this, okay? We stunk. All right?
Facts.
We absolutely stunk. Sam Howell stunk. Okay, the offensive line stunk. Defensive line stunk. Special teams stunk. Defense just stunk as a whole. The only thing that didn't stink in this entire game was Brian Robinson. Outside of that, everybody stunk. And listen, I love the fact we got the ball to Terry a lot more in this game. 6 targets, 6 receptions, right?
Yeah. Still didn't lead y'all in yardage, though. I thought that was interesting.
No, Samuel led us in yardage. But I have to give credit to the Buffalo coaching staff, too. Yeah. This is why I drive.
I'll be in the car.
That is my wife. She's definitely a NASCAR driver.
Yes.
Not necessarily a good one, NASCAR driver. She's great, though. She's a great driver. I love you, buddy.
Cold trickle vibes.
Yeah, cold trickle
Fix
vibes.
this damn
Exactly.
car.
Exactly, you know? But listen, I have to give credit to the Buffalo Bills coaching staff. We talked about how they were the lowest percentage blitzing team in the National Football League.
Yeah.
They brought the kitchen sink against Sam Howell. Okay.
Inspired by Wink Martindale.
Yeah. And so listen, 9 sacks. 5 of those sacks, I believe, I personally would accredit to the offensive line.
Yeah.
And then 4 of them I would put on Sam Howell. Now, I think you'll see varying different people's opinions on that and you know, statistical things like that. I'd be curious to see if anybody like any of the like grading companies
PFF does
that they agree with me or not.
Yeah, they break down pressure, what pressures were based upon the quarterback and upon the offensive line and sacks as well.
So I'd be curious
I'll try
to
to
see
dig into it for you.
If my numbers match up with that. But that's where I had it. I have 5 on the offensive line and 4 on Sam Howell. Nonetheless, 4 on your quarterback is definitely not enough here.
Yeah, it's
you
not a good look for sure.
It's just you can't go through a game like that as the quarterback. And I understand this is his 4th start ever in the National Football League. I understand that, right?
No
But
excuses.
there's no excuses. We're not in the business of making excuses. You know, like he had a bad game, and there was some good moments in this game, right?
Yeah.
But good moments don't win football games.
The little spin run he had, you know, when he was in the red zone.
Bro, your
then he got
tweet on
cracked.
that, was a thing of beauty. I thought that was fantastic. I was dying. But yeah, you see why the hope is there, right? And I'm not even going to dive into Commanders fan base and how utterly disrespectful of a fan base they are, how fair weather they can be. And it's not everybody, but there's a lot of them out there, you know, like people are literally like, well, what's the leash on Sam Howell? And I'm like, why is this even a question? Why is this a question?
Let him get his feet wet, you know, doing what he does, playing some
He
ball.
starts
His 4th game.
17 games unless he's injured. That's how this plays out, okay? So there's no bringing in Jacoby Brissett.
I'm going to take the push on that one.
Listen.
I'm going to take the push, man.
I think we were outcoached. We were 100% outcoached. And obviously, Ron Rivera is going to be the one that's going to get the backlash here. It's not going to be Eric Bieniemy. You might see some people giving some backlash to Jack Del Rio because the defensive game plan was not good. Okay, and we saw that early on. And also, let's just be perfectly blunt here. The Buffalo Bills are a way better football team than the Washington Commanders. Okay?
You know, Beard, I was checking some receipts today, right? And looking through my receipts, you know, I bookmark receipts on Twitter. Yes, I do. Call me petty, whatever you want to call me. I'm petty. Yes, right? And I noticed a lot of people wrote off the Buffalo Bills after the first 2 weeks. You know, Josh Allen having those turnover issues. They were like, I saw a hot take from a Philadelphia Eagles content creator, one of the homies, and she was like, yeah, book it. Buffalo Bills are going to be a team that's not in the playoffs. And I'm just like, you see the way they're striding now. If Josh Allen has just a little bit of a running game, it opens up so much for that offense. And look, y'all secondary and y'all linebackers, gaping holes, bro. Like Stephon Diggs was open every damn play, it seemed like. I remember one play, Josh Allen was backed up to his 1 yard line, right? And they didn't even, it was on a turnover from Sam Howell that they like got out the end zone or whatever. So he was on his own 1 yard line. They don't end up going down the field and scoring on that drive, but like they were backed up to like a third.
They did. They scored a field goal. They're not a touchdown, but they scored a field goal on that drive.
I don't know. When I looked at it today, I thought I didn't see it, but that might be correct. But you get to like 3rd and 12, 3rd and whatever it was, 3rd and 13, 3rd and long, and you allow a team to convert through the air like that. I mean, Stephon Diggs running across the middle of the field on a deep in route, just dead open, like no one near him. Unacceptable performance from the Washington Commanders defense. And yeah, the offense didn't help. I mean, you got your defense out there on the field for this long with this kind of imbalanced game plan as far as time of possession goes. It's hard to win games like that.
Yeah, the offense definitely let the defense down. And I will, because I saw Kevin in the chat, I will give the defense that level of credit as far as, they held them as best as they possibly could. It was only 16 points until the beginning of the fourth quarter. So like
had the interception from Fuller, I believe it was.
Yep. Who played Fuller played fantastic. I forgot to give him his flowers. Fuller played fantastic. I'm going to say he was the #1 rated cornerback in the National Football League this week, according to PFF. So, but it was the things that we went back to that we had been so good at as a defensive unit. First of all, you talked about it. The middle of the field was open all game long. Now, a lot of that has to do with. It's not just on the pass plays. On all of the big runs, there were none of the – generally you see teams attack Washington on the outside, right? Yeah. Buffalo ran it right up the middle on all Josh Allen, when Josh Allen had his big runs, up the middle. Like Chase Young and them were getting – the reason why I led with how Buffalo is a better team, right? Because I wanted to get to the point where, like, in the beginning, Chase Young and those guys were getting to Josh Allen. Josh Allen made some superhuman plays that not every quarterback's going to make.
Only him and Mahomes can make those kind of plays, man.
So it's like, like that sort of thing. But then when he started breaking for the runs, and Ron Rivera mentioned this, and some people don't like that he mentioned it. To be honest with you, I mean, I think it's okay sometimes to just be honest. It obviously affected the way that the linemen were pressuring the quarterback after they saw Josh Allen break off for those 2 runs.
Yeah, for sure.
And some of that goes on Chase Young and Montez Sweat, but some of that has to be held accountability for the defensive coordinator because you didn't scheme it properly. There was no pinching on the inside. And generally, Washington is a wide gap defensive front, meaning the ends are taking wide angles. Sometimes by design, sometimes not by design, which opens up, larger running gaps for the quarterback if they don't. But generally, the defensive line in the middle is pinching down, which is blocking that out. But for some reason, there was not that. And a lot of people wanted to see Jamin Davis spying Josh Allen. Another thing we did not see any of. So the middle of the field was just open all game long, whether it was running, whether it was passing. And then the other thing was his third downs. We had been on this long streak of 11 games of not allowing an opponent to convert more than 4 third downs.
Yeah.
Buffalo was 9 of 15. 9 of 15 on third downs. That is, I don't care what else happens in the game. I guarantee you the winning percentage of football teams in the National Football League allowing that sort of, not only that percentage of a conversion, but that amount of a conversion on third downs, I guarantee you that winning percentage is below 40%.
Yeah, 9
because you cannot win football games like that. And not only was it not, this is going to be crazy. They convert 9 third downs. That's crazy enough, right? 9 of 15. That's crazy. But what's really crazy is 4 of those 9 third downs were 7 or more yards to go.
Yeah, so like that's 3rd and long pretty much.
Those are the sort of plays that you have to.
Welcome to my world, man. Welcome to the Wink Martindale defense.
Without exception, you have to get off the field on those plays. 3rd and 7 shouldn't. Okay, I'll give you 1, maybe 2, but 4, and of those of 7, 2 of them were of double-digit to goes.
Yeah, it's not fun.
You cannot do that. Now, let's talk about the offense, okay? 0 for 2 in the red zone. Can't have it. Can't have it. Young team, young quarterback. Can't have it. You got to score
game,
points.
Tight game. Can't have it.
Can't
have it.
And I'm not necessarily like listen, a lot of times it's easy to say things in hindsight, right? Oh, you should have gone for it. Oh, you should have took the field goal.
Yeah.
And in this game, at that point, I was torn 50-50. Usually I will stand, I will die, I will pick one of the two, and I will die on the hill, right?
The fourth down conversion.
When they decide to go for it in the red zone, right?
Yeah.
I was torn. In my mind, I'm like, okay, it's early enough. Maybe you just take the 3 points, like get on the board. Like just get on the board. We've been struggling in the first half over the last couple of games. Kick the 3, right? And then the other part of me is like, you're going against Buffalo. Like, you made it all the way down here. I'm sick and tired of field goals. Like, let's power it in. Let's score 7
Power's
points.
the right word to use there, because go to your identity. You're on the 2-yard line. I would have ran the ball.
I'm so glad you said that. The identity. 13 rushing attempts, my guy.
Yeah, that's not it. That's not it.
What did we talk about? What was it? Philly ran the ball 40 times.
Yeah. I'm sure they're losing a little bit of confidence in the duo of running backs there. Antonio Gibson is just fumbling every other damn game.
And the thing that's crazy is that, listen, I have defended Antonio Gibson with the fumbling. I cannot defend that anymore because it's twice now this year. After last year, only losing 1 fumble all year, to this, like it's tough to defend, right? And he's such a great athlete, a good football player. I mean, he had some great plays here, but I can't defend that. But even the 13, 9 of them were in the second half, I believe. I think we only ran the ball 4 times in the first half, something crazy like that. It just, I know Eric Bieniemy he has this philosophy, and it's crazy because not me, but a lot of fans were like, we need to throw the ball down the field and we got to pass the ball and this and that, right? And then it happens, and then they're like, well, why aren't we running the ball?
Yeah.
It's
at the cost of turnovers. When fans are going to be upset when you turn the ball over. And in this game, I didn't think the problem was necessarily just like moving the ball, because they had little chunk plays here and there. But then you get down to the red zone and you throw in interceptions, you turning the ball over on downs, you fumbling the ball around midfield. There's no way you're going to win a game with this many turnovers. When I saw the Minnesota Vikings go up against the Philadelphia Eagles on Thursday night and they were actually in a 1-score game after they turned the ball over 5 times, it was a miracle.
Yeah. You don't see that.
It should have looked like this. You just don't see that.
No,
yeah,
you don't.
You just don't see it. You got to have a hell of an offensive performance to stay in these kind of games when you're turning the ball over that much.
So I think that Bieniemy is going to have to lose some of his stubbornness and just, I'm not asking him to completely abandon his identity as an offensive coordinator, because that's why we brought him here. We brought him here to be the offensive coordinator that he is, right? And he is a 65% pass to run offensive coordinator. That's his style, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes I've seen in the first 2 games, I've seen him adjust accordingly to the game. I think now you might have to do that before the game starts. You might have to adjust accordingly. I think we're going to have to find some better balance in the run pass game. Like, I would love to see, me. I'm a 40 run a game sort of guy. That's my style if I was an OC. I'm not asking you to do that, but we can't do 13. I mean, that's just, it doesn't work.
Especially when it's just not working. You look at the yardage from your wide receiver core. Jahan Dotson, I believe, had 2 catches on the day. Samuel had the 1 big play, led y'all in receiving. Terry McLaurin, a bunch of little knick-knack, dink and dunk type of plays. That's really it. Get to the identity, man. Get to the run. But the problem is when you got all those weapons and you're not utilizing them, fan base is going to criticize one side of the coin, either of them. If you run the ball too much, they're going to say, hey, we got all these weapons out here. Why you ain't throwing the ball when you're in close games and you lose games, right? And same thing goes for when you're throwing the ball too much. So I think Washington's in a really tight spot, and they got a young quarterback here, manning the ship, trying to handle all this in his first real season as a quarterback. It's going to be tough.
And listen, shout out to Awthentik, because the transitions and the discussions today have been absolutely 100% conversion rate. Sam Howell. Let's talk about Sam Howell a little bit.
Let's go.
Like I
mean,
said,
hey, we've been on this game for a grip. Let's
there was some, some obvious downfall to Sam Howell's game, and he's got to find a way to find consistency in his game, because at times you're like, Sam Howell's clicking. He's seeing the read, he's getting rid of the ball, but then like you talked about in that one play, Jahan Dotson's wide open in the end zone. You can't miss those. The footwork has to improve some. The padding of the ball. These are all things that we've talked about other quarterbacks doing throughout this show so far. So those are things that, he's going to have to improve on. The interceptions, they were pretty damn bad. They were pretty damn bad. The one, Matt Ryan said it best, like on the pick six. You're not going to throw it over a 6 foot plus guy. Like, you got to eat that. Pump fake it, run, we gotta string this together for Sam Howell. Like, I'm not as down on Sam Howell as 90% of the people are. You know what I'm saying? Like, for me, I knew that there was going to be something like this. Peyton Manning's rookie season, we've seen it a million times. We talked about it a million times, the amount of interceptions he's thrown. Jalen Hurts had a game similar to this against the New York Giants. It was one of his first starts. So there's things like that we have seen along the way. With these quarterbacks, it's going to happen. Look at Trevor Lawrence's first 4 or 5 games, albeit with a horrible head coach.
Yeah, that was crazy.
So there's going to be some discrepancies in the game.
You know how I do this, though? Like, I don't like to look at history to try to prove a point in the present day. I don't like to do that, right? Because and as a Giants fan, we get so caught up in that. Oh, but Eli struggled his first 3 seasons. Evan Neal will be fine. Andrew Thomas struggled his first season. Saquon Barkley, don't worry about him. He's going to come back and look like Adrian Peterson. Oh, y'all remember when we had Plaxico Burress, Kenny Galladay's going to come in here. He's going to be Daniel Jones, Plaxico Burress. Sometimes it just doesn't happen, right? And I see Monique said a comment in here. I almost want to highlight it, but I just bring a little attention to it. She said he looked good. Some mistakes, but he's young. He did not look good. He looked rattled.
Yeah, he looked
honestly,
bad.
I told the Beard this off air, and it's the last thing I'll say about this game, right? They should have took him out in that fourth quarter when that game got out of hand. Once the lead got to about 21, your quarterback's out there. He had 3 first-half interceptions. You get 4, those are them kind of games that you might be looking at this one like a Nathan Peterman type of situation and being like, man, that shell-shocked that young quarterback, and he can't bounce back from that. You guys got the Eagles next week. I told the Beard this. I'm going to tell the fam in the chat this. They got the Eagles next week. If Sam Howell goes out there and commits 2 or 3 turnovers, just imagine what that's going to do to his psyche as a young quarterback, only 5 games into his career, and a tough stretch coming up. You got a bunch of division games coming up as well after that. He's got to get it together, and if I'm the coaching staff, I start to simplify things a little bit. To me, a little too much read option for a quarterback that poses no threat running the ball from the read option.
Yeah, this is the test. This is the test from this point, especially into this game, obviously this point through the rest of the season, but this is going to be the test. It was a bad day all around, and I'm glad it's over, and we don't have to talk about it ever again.